Today I'm going to talk about introversion and creativity. And I'm also going to share with you what I've been working on lately creatively. Hi, I'm Annie, and I'm okay. I'm experiencing a really slow week in my massage therapy business, and that makes me nervous because I do need money to keep the show running. But what do when things get slow? I don't sit around and make myself sick with worry. I just do other things. So this week I am working on art. So I was running out on the trail today with my dog, and I was just thinking about how people say that friendship is so important that you really need to have a lot of connections. And they've even done scientific studies that say that if you have a strong network of friends, a lot of different friends, and a tight community, then you will actually live longer. And, anytime there's any scientific study, there are outliers. And so I'm just wondering if that applies to me, or if there's any way that I would fall outside of that rule of having a longer life because of a lot of connection and community. Or maybe I'm gonna die young because I don't have a lot of connection and community. But here's the thing, I'm not lonely, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. When I was younger, in high school and throughout my 20s, I was lonelier. I was. And I think that's partially because when you're younger, you're learning to socialize. And socializing is just more important. And there's a drive to partner, to find a mate. But even in my 20s, I spent a lot of time alone and a lot of times just sitting around making art. I went to college in a small town called La Grande, Oregon, and I studied art in college. And I actually bought a house in La Grande, Oregon for $49,000. My mortgage was $340 a month. That's funny because as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that my rent at my massage therapy office is $340 a month. So yeah, I lived in an entire house for $340 a month. And it was a small bungalow, a 1920s bungalow. And I did a lot of renovations. I had an ex-boyfriend who was a contractor, and so he did the fixing up for me. Now there was this garage, like a double car garage. Maybe, I'm not very good with math or measurements, but you know what I mean. I can't tell you the square footage because I'm not good at math, but you picture it, right? A 2-car garage. So anyway, I converted that into a ceramic studio, and I spent a lot of time there just creating art for hours and hours and hours and listening to, gosh, back then, Radiohead. I listened to a lot of Radiohead and Beastie Boys and Ani DeFranco. I'm just remembering the space and remembering the music. And of course, I listened to many other things. If you asked me back then, I would say I feel lonely. I feel incredibly lonely. But at the same time, I think a lot of times I was opting to shut myself away in my art studio because that is also very important to me. Getting plenty of time to work on art and to be absolutely alone. So sometimes if I was social, I would do that for a while, but then I would kind of get too much of it and I would think I need to be alone. And also I need time to make art. It's incredibly time consuming. When I met my partner, it was 11 years ago. We just had our 11-year anniversary a couple days ago. I kind of stopped seeking to socialize because I spend time with him and that's fulfilling, and I see clients and that is rewarding and fulfilling. My relationships with my massage therapy clients don't always involve a lot of talking, but some of them do. And I also get kind of a comfort and fulfillment even from the ones that are quiet. I can't really explain it, but I'm just like in a room with another person and I'm serving them and, giving them a massage. And somehow that's socially fulfilling. Although I think for many people, they would need a lot more socializing than that. And I think if someone from the outside were to look at my patterns and look at my life and how I spend my time, they would say, whoa, you need to socialize more. Because it's part of overall health, supposedly, that you need to have friendships and have connections with people. I feel like I have enough connections just from my clients, my family, my partner. And my partner is also really introverted, and he's a contractor. He fixes things. And there are certain clients that he gets on with really well. Right now, his favorite client is this elderly woman that he's working for. He's renovating her kitchen, and he has so much fulfillment from that friendship and just from being in her house and working with her, and they just get along really well, and they laugh, and she's, really feisty and irreverent, and they have a good time talking about politics and philosophy and a whole range of topics. So I was thinking about so I was thinking about this idea that people live longer when they have more connections and friendships. And I was picturing myself in an old folks home someday. Maybe I'm all alone. Maybe my partner dies and I'm old and living in a home. And I was picturing potentially nobody coming to visit me because I don't have any friends. So I was running on the trail and thinking all this. And the first thing that occurred to me was I don't give a damn if nobody comes to visit me or talks to me, but they better give me some fucking Play-Doh so that I can make things. Because as you can see, I love to make things. That's what I want to do with my time. So to me, if I had to compare the hell of living in a home and not having any friends stop by or talk to me to the hell of living in that same situation and not having a creative outlet, I think not having a creative outlet would be much worse. I mean, they could give me construction paper or Play-Doh or anything. And also, I hope there's puppies. I hope that puppies come into the home once a week to have a play day. And I hope that there are a few dogs that live there because I need that. I need a creative outlet and I need animals. I don't know so much that I need friends and family to visit. No, I could be completely wrong. Maybe someday I will live in this scenario and it'll be like utter hell and I'll be, lonely and sad. I don't know. I strongly believe that if you have a tendency like this, like introversion, then it's a really good idea to exercise your opposite tendency. I really strive to be balanced. And this is something I believed for a long time, and I kept putting it off for years and years. I just didn't try to socialize. And then a few years ago, when I was 40, so I guess it was 2 years ago, I decided this year I'm going to socialize. So it was my year of socializing. It was a New Year's resolution. I committed to it. And my plan, because I love efficiency, to combine all my New Year's resolutions. One of them was strongly to continue to run. I was a new runner, and to increase my fitness and to run a race, to run a bigger race. So I got this idea of training for the Eugene Half Marathon. And because I love efficiency, I thought, well, why don't I train for the half marathon with a group? So then I'm fulfilling that socializing requirement of the resolution, and then I'm also training for a big race. So I trained for the Eugene Half Marathon with a group of people, and it was rewarding. It was, and I do like people. I feel like I need to say that I do like people. It's just that I like having time alone and time to create more. And because time is a finite resource, there's not always enough time to balance the friends and the creativity. And once you start to hang out with friends, then they ask you all the time. They invite you all the time. Oh, do you want to go do this? Do you want to go do that? And I feel conflicted because I can go and participate in some of the things, but I have to say no to so many of them because I have to protect this time where I'm working on my art. So I did socialize a lot for a year, maybe a year and a half with this running group. And it was really difficult because of the times that they met up. If I'm left to my own devices, I'll wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'll run pretty early so that is done for the day. I've fulfilled my extroverted sensing and my exercise for the day. I can come back and do the rest of my day, which includes some creativity and then maybe going to work to give massages. Well, this group met a couple times a week, and one of the times, Tuesday evening, just didn't work for me at all because it was running at night in the winter in the dark, and a lot of times I was still at my office working. I hate running at night. And the other time that they met was 9 a.m. on Saturday morning to do a long run. Now, when you're in a training program, the long runs increase until you might be running, 2 hours. So I committed to doing this on Saturdays. I went to every meeting. But it did become difficult because I was running for a long time. I was pushing myself pretty hard. And then I also had to go to work later. I couldn't just take Saturdays off. I mean, Saturdays are a really valuable work day for me. So if I run for 2 hours at 9 a.m., I'm done by 11. I have to go home and take care of myself, eat some food, and then also, get to work to give massages. I found that I kept getting myself into these situations where I would have 3 or 4 massage therapists therapy appointments. Now, the kind of massage that I do is very active. I massage people with my feet, and I'm standing on the table and I'm using these bars for overhead support, and it's a really active, dynamic movement. And so I would be just trashed from these long runs. And also, I was a new runner, so every long run was a new distance for me. When I ran 10 miles, that was the first time in my life that I had run 10 miles. And then I also had to go to work and give these massages. And I was just trashed, really, honestly. During that period of my training, I really needed to take the day off for some of the runs when they got really longer, when they got to be over 10 miles. A lot of people would see so much value in meeting with a group and training with them that it would be worth it to rearrange their schedule or do whatever they needed to do. But what I found myself feeling was that I would rather do it alone at 5 or 6 in the morning and be done by 8 a.m. The dangling carrot of socializing is so strong for some people, but for me, it just isn't. If I have to choose between having a friend or having lots of time to make art, then I choose having time to make art. And I think that that is a little bit outside of the norm, or it's maybe like way, way over at the end of the spectrum in terms of introversion. So I guess in my mind, when I think of having a friend, I think of having maybe one friend. I think of it being really convenient and organized. Like maybe I meet with this friend once or twice a month at the most, and we get together and it's really focused. We share experience and we ask each other for advice. And I would prefer for it to be someone creative, because I like to show what I'm working on creatively and get some feedback, and I like to do that with other people. So that's my idea of really valuable socializing. So the people from the running group, they kept inviting me to more and more things, and I could go to some of them, but I couldn't go to all of them. And then eventually they just stopped inviting me. And that's just the way it is. I totally understand it. I don't feel hurt by it at all. It's just that those people are really motivated by socializing. They go to work, they have 9 to 5 jobs, and then the running group is their outlet. That's their main hobby. Maybe they don't have other hobbies, or I know some of them do. I know a few of the people are creative and they, also spend some time knitting at home, or they have other creative outlets, but they just don't have as much time to devote to it as I do. And it's clearly not as important to them as it is to me. So anyway, let me show you what I've been working on lately. So I am making these ceramic earrings. They're like what I'm wearing. I'll insert a picture of the earrings that I'm wearing. This is the first pair that I've made in 15 years. I used to make these 15 years ago and I stopped, and now I'm returning to clay, making these earrings, and this is what I'm doing this week, and I love it, and it's fun, and I'm really enjoying myself. So I don't know, what do you guys think about that? I mean, how social are you? Do you think that I should push myself even harder to socialize, even though I kind of don't want to? Or should I just accept myself the way that I am? That's sort of where I'm at right now. It's like, I just feel like accepting myself the way that I am.